God has allowed her.
Once upon a time, there was a company whose theme parks were loved the world over. Its mascot was a famous mouse. Then, one day, the mouse decided to set sail on the open sea, and two enormous ships were born. This is the Disney Cruise Line. The only ships that claim pixie dust and magic navigate their course. We're about to show you how Disney called upon its theme park experience when creating the Disney Cruise Line. Plus, we'll go behind the scenes to discover how Disney took a deserted island in the middle of the Caribbean and turned it into their own private tropical oasis. And what do Disney's cruise ships have that no one else does? Stay tuned, because we're going into uncharted waters as we uncover the secrets of the Disney Cruise Line. Disney's theme parks welcome a reported 93 million people each year. Top-notch entertainment, thrilling attractions, and customer service. These are the hallmarks of Disney. People were surprised when Disney announced the launch of a cruise line. Disney's characters had appeared on other ships, but that was Disney's only experience at sea. So would this entertainment giant find success on the high seas? Could the company famous for inventing modern theme parks reinvent the cruise line business? Disney decided to find out. The ships had to be among the largest in the industry. Their design had to make them stand out. The workmanship had to be top-notch. And the experience had to live up to the expectations of the Disney name. Back in 1992, the Disney Cruise Line was just an idea.
Our first challenge was to develop the original business plan, and what we realized when we were developing that business plan was that the cruise experience was a natural extension of our theme park and resort experience. What we realized was that many of our guests who visited our parks and resorts combined their stay at Walt Disney World with a beach experience. So we realized that this was a natural way of extending the parks and resorts experience on board a cruise ship.
That decision, made by CEO Michael Eisner and other executives, set Disney on a new course into the cruise line business.
After Michael gave us a green light to go ahead to design our ships, and the question is, what kind of ships will be the Disney ships?
This challenge was put in the hands of several naval architects who were given specific directives. Some of the designs were tropical. Some were futuristic. Others took their cues from Mickey Mouse, but none of them impressed Disney's top brass.
We put on the wall, and Michael and Frank came into the room, and after 2 hours meetings, actually there was no one design or a single design we liked.
So it was back to the drawing board. Michael Eisner wanted a ship with a classic look, but modern style. The architects puzzled over his request. Finally, one design caught the attention of Disney's CEO. His design resembled the classic cruise liner from the early 20th century with distinctly modern touches. Disney felt they had a winner.
The whole idea for the development of the ship as far as the product goes is to provide the guests with the experience of going back to the era of ocean liner crossings when they used to go across the Atlantic.
The design of the ship brought back round portholes, horizontal rails, and multiple funnels. But modern ship technology requires only one funnel to operate. So one of the ship's funnels is functional and one is only a facade. Though it may look like a real working funnel, it's actually home to a sports bar called the ESPN Skybox. The ship's colors were inspired by ocean-going vessels of the past. This included a black hull, white superstructure, red funnels, and teak decks. But there's something else that motivated Disney's color choices: Mickey Mouse. All of the colors matched perfectly, except the yellow of Mickey's bow tie wasn't going to match the orange lifeboats required by maritime law.
We said, well, we're getting close to Mickey Mouse's official colors, which is Disney colors. And so we went to talk to the International Maritime Association. We said, can we tweak the yellow slightly, have a golden yellow like the Mickey's yellow? And as long as we meet the, the code, which means the visibility from the air. And they said, fine. So it was perfect.
Once the design was in place, it was time to build. The contract to construct this floating city went to a shipyard in Venice, Italy, named Fincantieri. But schedule and space limitations made it impossible to build this vessel at one yard. After all, building a ship that was to be 14 stories tall and 964 feet long was a tall order. So how did they meet the deadline Disney requested?
What they did for us, they built two parts. Not cut this way, but they cut this way. So we had two parts of the ship, the front and the back.
That's right. The ship was built at two different shipyards, more than 100 miles apart. Both yards worked night and day to make sure the bow and stern would be ready at the same time. Not an easy task. And the pressure was on. Sea conditions and the weather limited the transporting of the bow to a narrow window of time. On April 12, 1997, it was a sight to behold as the ship's bow began the 100-mile journey towards its ultimate destination. It was a 2-day trip from Ancona to Marghera, Italy. Now came the moment of truth. Would the two parts fit together seamlessly? Little by little, the two massive hunks inched closer. Anticipation rose as the bow and stern were gingerly fitted together. Then, with extreme care, welding began. Finally, with a sigh of relief, the team realized all the long days and sleepless nights had paid off. It was a perfect fit.
The day when you saw these two parts floating together, coming together, almost like half of the buildings coming together into one ship. It's a moment you won't forget.
With the two halves together, they were well on their way.
Well, that part, of course, it's a huge, giant, step has been completed when the two parts coming together. But even from that point on, there's still so much work to do.
The final step was the interior design, and it just might surprise you.
It's very upscale and refined. I think that is the biggest surprise that people will find on board, because they're used to thinking of Disney vacation, a Disney experience with, Mickey Mouse and Cinderella everywhere you look, and really it's an understated Disney decor.
For example, when you walk into the lobby of the Disney Wonder, you are greeted by a statue of Ariel, and that's the only Disney character you'll see. Or is it? Only a keen eye can pick out the characters camouflaged in the banisters and subtly placed on the wall. And take a close look at the elevator. Now look again. The shape of Mickey Mouse's head is hidden on the elevator screen.
The overall design of the ship, we wanted to keep all the Disney elements subtle. And so from the minute you walk into the lobby, there's a lot of subtle Disney elements.
Throughout the ship, the Disney touches range from pictures to hardware. But you might not even notice them. That decor mirrors the ship's exterior. The Disney Wonder is decorated in the classic Art Nouveau style. And on the Magic, it's all about Art Deco.
Where the rest of the industry, you might find a Vegas-style experience with neon lights and sort of over-the-top decor in different public rooms. On Disney, you'll find a more classic transatlantic liner with a lot of Art Deco.
To help create the decor, Disney called on the best of the best. In fact, they hired celebrity glass artisan Dale Chihuly to design the lobby chandelier. But before you start thinking the chandelier would look good in your living room, listen to this. That chandelier weighs as much as an elephant. So after years of planning, designing, and constructing, what was once a dream had become a 964-foot-long reality. On July 28, 1998, the Disney Magic was born. And more than a year later, the Disney Wonder, the Magic's nearly identical sister ship, was launched. Disney was ready to set sail. When we come back, we'll set sail on the Disney Wonder and get an inside look at the most lavish accommodations on board. And later, paradise is found on Disney's own private island. Less than 6 years after Disney executives hatched a plan to dive into the cruise line business, the first ship, the Disney Magic, set sail. A year later, the second ship, the Disney Wonder, was launched. The two ships embark on 3-, 4-, and 7-night cruises from Port Canaveral on Florida's east coast, strategically placed less than 60 miles from Walt Disney World. So it was important that Disney ships would appeal to their theme park audience of families.
We coined that term the no compromise vacation because the concept is that everybody on board the ship is going to have a great time. Mom and dad are going to have a great time. The children are going to have a great time. The families are going to have a great time. There is things to do for every member of the family.
The terminal greets first-time passengers in grand style. The ceilings soar over a 13,000 square foot terrazzo floor, where visitors check in before boarding under a 10-foot mouse ear archway.
From this minute on, these keys are going to be known as your key to the world. It's your boarding pass, your room key, your safe key, and your charge card.
Throughout the afternoon, passengers board the ship at their leisure.
Welcome aboard.
The first thing guests see is the grand lobby on Deck 3, midship. From here, they will board marble elevators and fan out to various decks to find their staterooms. Disney relied on its resort experience when designing these stately rooms.
We certainly have a lot of history of resort guests at Walt Disney World staying in our hotel rooms. We study a lot about what they like, what they don't like.
To accommodate the family, the staterooms were designed to be 25% larger than the industry average. And Disney created a variety of stateroom designs in an effort to fit everyone's needs. From a standard inside stateroom to multi-bedroom suites, they've thought of everything. And of course, everyone wants a room with a view. So Disney made sure a majority of the 877 staterooms would have ocean views. And nearly half of those have private verandas. Some staterooms have pull-down beds built into the ceiling. And one stateroom feature broke the mold as a cruise industry first. Most of the staterooms have not one bathroom, but two.
It's one with the sink and the tub and shower, and a separate compartment with the sink and the toilet. So different members of the family can use the bathroom at different times.
It's very convenient to have two bathrooms when you have a family, especially on a cruise.
And passengers looking to indulge in the best a good night's sleep has to offer should check out the ship's most exclusive stateroom, the Walt Disney Suite, which is booked typically up to 1 year in advance. This 1,000 square foot floating penthouse is decked out in marble, has a whirlpool tub, and a baby grand piano. But what makes this palatial pad different from any other suite at sea is the family photos. Here, you'll find pictures of the suite's namesake and company's founder, Walt Disney himself. While guests arrive on board the ship and get their first taste of the cruise experience, the turnaround process continues as the crew washes, dusts, and paints. The process of keeping everything picture perfect, or should we say Disney perfect, ranks high on the cruise priority list. This is because passengers come on board with high expectations because of the Disney name. So to meet these great expectations, Disney developed Project Main Street.
Project Main Street is a maintenance strategy, if you will. If you go to Magic Kingdom and walk down Main Street, it looks the same way that it did in 1971 when the park opened.
So like Disney's Magic Kingdom, everything on board looks brand new. When it's time to set sail, passengers get their first taste of the fun that's in store. The Sail Away Party on Deck 9. As the party picks up, the crew drops the ropes, and the captain prepares to take the ship from Port Canaveral out to sea. The shorter cruises head for Nassau and Freeport in the Bahamas, while the 7-night voyage will find its way to Key West, Grand Cayman, and Mexico's Cozumel. Every itinerary includes a final stop on Disney's exclusive private island, Castaway Cay. But for now, the pool party is going strong, kids are meeting some of their favorite characters, while some adults head straight to the ship's lavish spa.
I'm here for my alpha capsule.
Below, the deck team finishes pulling in the ropes. Once all the passengers have settled in, it will officially be anchors away. Coming up next, the secret to transforming a room from black and white to color, and where you can go so the kids won't find you. Take 2 ships, add several Caribbean itineraries, then sprinkle on the Disney name, and you've got a recipe for the Disney cruise. But there's one main ingredient necessary on any cruise, and that's food. And a lot of it. Food, food, and more food. Today's cruisers have come to expect delectable dining in excessive amounts. But how would Disney raise the bar on cruise dining? With an industry first, the Disney company created rotational dining. Instead of dining at one huge restaurant every evening of the cruise, this concept rotates cruisers through 3 different restaurants on sequential nights.
We had the same waiters every evening, so they got to know us and they called the children by name. They gave them such individualized attention. It made them feel very special.
There's an upscale restaurant that serves fine cuisine in high style, a casual island-themed dining experience, and one of the most unusual restaurants ever created. It's called Animator's Palette, and you'll see why this restaurant is classic Disney. When passengers enter Animator's Palette, the room is completely black and white. The walls are covered with Disney animation sketches. As the courses are served, the room is magically transformed into color. So how does Disney create this effect?
There is the facade wall, which is the wall that you see when you walk into the room. And of course, as you walk in, you would naturally just think that's the wall of the restaurant. Well, in essence, it's not. It's a bit of a trick. There's about 22 inches between that facade wall and the full color wall that you see behind it.
In the beginning, the black and white facade wall, which is made of perforated metal, is lit from the front, so all you see is the black and white drawings. During the meal, a computer system slowly dims the front wall's light and sneaks up the light on the back color wall.
When we make that shift from front light to back light, the front wall, that facade wall, essentially disappears to the eye and the back wall comes on, and that's where we have that full rainbow of color. And that's really how that whole transition takes place.
How was your experience on board?
There is one unsung star in this 78-minute show you may not even notice, unless you listen carefully.
The musical score for Animator's Palette is a complement, again, of all of the images that are in the room and the different stories that we start to tell as the dining is going on.
Arranged and recorded in London, the original score is designed to coordinate with the lighting effects. It was also designed to ebb and flow with the dining process.
When the appetizers come out and all the guests are having their appetizer, we sort of had the show really subdued. The music was more quiet. There wasn't much happening in the room. When the guests were finished with the appetizers, sort of waiting for their main course to come out, we then brought many more elements into the room.
Even the wait staff is in on the act. The servers have specific music cues that tell them when to serve the meal's courses. And when the room changes to color, the servers exchange their black and white costumes for colorful ones. It's all in a day's work for these employees. Here, their jobs are right there in black and white. At least for a while. And while Animator's Palette is full of whimsical fun, there's one restaurant that has a more serious side. Located on Deck 10 aft, that's the top deck in the very back of the ship, there's a very upscale restaurant you won't find on your rotational dining itinerary.
We wanted a reservation for 2. A beautiful romantic table by the window for you, and let me ask you, any special occasion?
Anniversary.
Anniversary.
It's called Palo, and you can't just show up at this restaurant. You need to make a reservation before you can experience Palo's adults-only atmosphere, a la carte menu, and panoramic views of the ocean. The kitchen is open to the restaurant, and diners enjoy gourmet pizzas, rack of lamb, and a decadent chocolate souffle for dessert. But you need to sign up for Palo the moment you board because reservations fill up fast. And while food is a major ingredient for a successful cruise, entertainment and activities are the meat and potatoes of any voyage. On board the magic and the wonder, it's Disney's goal to make sure everyone has a good time.
The philosophy behind the Disney Cruise Line is to make sure that no matter your age, whether you're young or an adult, that you have a great family vacation.
So how does the Disney Cruise Line live up to its promise to entertain adults and children at the same time? Let's start with the pools. Most ships have 1 or maybe 2. Disney ships have 4. The Mickey Pool is for children. Located on Deck 9 near the back of the ship, it's shaped like its namesake and boasts a giant water slide. On the other side of the ship's aft funnel, you'll find the Goofy Pool. This one is open to families, so that includes everyone. And near the bow of the ship, tucked away in front of the foremost funnel, is a pool reserved exclusively for adults 18 and up. This is the place where you can get away from the kids.
I think it's a great advantage to have an adult pool because even though it's nice to swim with the kids, it's also nice not to, so.
Though these pools are only 150 feet from each other, they feel like they are miles apart. That's due in part to hidden speakers that pipe age-appropriate music into the 3 pool zones. So what about the 4th pool? It's not open to kids, families, or adults. Discreetly placed on the 5th deck next to the bow, this pool is reserved for crew members to use on their time off. Now for kids who need a little time off from their parents, Disney Cruise Line devoted nearly an entire deck to young sailors. That's 15,000 square feet of nothing but kids stuff. 5 times more space than any other cruise line. Disney also activated a revolutionary pager system. Parents are given pagers when they drop off their kids and paged if the children need them.
This is actually going to be for you.
I'm going to get that.
You're going to get the pager. So if they ever want to give you a message, let you know they're leaving, they met some friends, or going to the pool, going to the movie, they can send you a page through the counselors and we'll page you.
So if by chance any of the children are becoming a little bit restless towards the latter part of the evening, or they want their moms, dads, or grandparents, then all we do is page them from our respective desk, and the moms or dads will be down there within minutes.
Parents aren't likely to be paged very often as kids spend time with Goofy, play computer games, and explore a secret tunnel designed for kids only.
The children's program is so exciting and the kids love it so much that they are gone from 9 in the morning until pretty much midnight, and the parents can't get their kids back.
Disney lives up to its reputation with entertainment for kids. But what about adults and singles? One of Disney's biggest challenges is convincing cruisers without kids to come aboard. To keep adult passengers from going kid crazy, Disney created some areas just for them. One of the most popular, the Vista Spa and Salon. The tropical rainforest room has fruit and mint-scented showers, a chamomile steam room, and a gentle sauna that mimics a Roman bath. This contraption may look like something from the Jetsons, but it's actually the Alpha capsule.
Hi Greg, good morning. Nice to
How are
meet
you
you.
doing?
Fine, thanks, and yourself. I'm Chantal, I'll be your therapist for this morning. This is the Alpha capsule. 25 minutes equal 2 hours rest, all right? With circulation, the aromatherapy program, we're going to get you to have a nice relaxation time, all right? Make sure that you're comfortable. Excellent. At a temperature of 100 degrees Fahrenheit. On an aroma health program, increasing circulation in your body, on a time of 25 minutes. All right? Enjoy your treatment, and I'll check up on you halfway through. Hi, Greg. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Excellent.
And for a really high-tech spa experience, the ionotherapy Super Detox is about as space age as they come.
Okay, now this is a medical treatment, and what we're going to do is we're going to concentrate on the toxic buildup in your system. Okay, we're going to start breaking it down so that your body can actually get rid of it through your skin and through your lymph nodes. Also, by doing that, the body can then recognize excess fat and break that down as well.
This multi-process treatment lathers on creams and gels and then follows up with electrodes, which are said to break up toxins. If this treatment works, it would be a good excuse for eating that extra dessert at Palo's.
I tried out the spa this morning, and that was wonderful. That was probably the best thing I've ever done for myself, while my daughter plays in, the playroom and has a great time.
While there is plenty of entertainment for adults, including an entire section of the ship devoted to romantic bars and high-energy dance clubs, there are a couple of traditional cruise activities you won't find on Disney ships.
I think it's important for people that are traditional cruisers to understand that Disney Cruise Line really stands apart. There's some differences. For instance, there's no casino on board. There's not a traditional ship's library. However, they fill in those gaps with unparalleled onboard entertainment.
Of course, entertainment is Disney's claim to fame, and this is something the whole family can enjoy. In the Buena Vista Theater, passengers can see first-run movies. But it's the Walt Disney Theater where the company has pulled out all the stops. While this 977-seat theater is miles away from the glitz and glamour of Broadway, its shows rival those found in the Big Apple. But the company accustomed to creating show-stopping performances for theme parks had some new challenges to deal with on the cruise ship.
One of the technology problems you always have is a ship. You are physically a ship, so how can a ship compete with the West End? And also expectations of our guests that expect such a high standard from Disney. So we were fortunate enough again to have the people and the expertise to build us a proper theater that can do anything.
Whether it's smooth sailing or rocky waters, the show must go on. And when the curtain goes up, the entertainment staff is ready with a performance that for a short time might make you forget you're at sea. return. Go where few have gone before, behind the scenes of Disney's Cruise Line, and discover how this 85,000-ton behemoth can be controlled by a joystick. Disney Cruise Line. Its two ships, the Magic and the Wonder, sail around the Bahamas and the Caribbean, stopping in tropical locales like Nassau and the Virgin Islands. So what does it take to pilot Disney's Pride and Joy through the Atlantic? First of all, it takes a lot of horsepower to move 85,000 tons. Try more than 70,000. Inside the engine control room, crew members oversee every system on board the ship, from the air conditioning in the staterooms to the water levels in the pool, and a complicated ballast system to keep the ship stable at speed.
Here we're at the main control station for the propulsion of the ship. This is similar to the station that exists on the bridge and from which the captain drives the vessel. Here I can show you that this is the speed of the shafts that are pushing the ship through the water.
There are 5 engines on board. These huge machines turn 2 enormous shafts that rotate the 2 18-foot propellers. At full speed, the Magic and the Wonder will cut through the water at 23 knots. That's 26 miles per hour for you land lovers. Running a ship that is nearly 3 football fields long is no easy task. Up on the bridge, officers navigate and monitor the ship's progress and systems around the clock. The captain, who is also the ship's general manager, is in charge of everything, including the 950 crew members on board. He doesn't always stand on the bridge, but when the ship is pulling into port, you can be sure he'll be there. He even has a special area off the main bridge where he can control the ship.
That's what we call the bridge wing, and we have complete control. We have all the thrusters, main propulsion, rudders that we need to steer and maneuver the ship.
When pulling into Nassau in the Bahamas, the captain must rotate the ship 180 degrees before docking. This is a delicate procedure in such a small channel. To turn around the Disney ship, he doesn't use a wheel. Believe it or not, he uses a joystick.
Joystick is a computerized integration of all the functions of rudders, thrusters, and main propulsion that makes it a little easier, and it's all an integrated version of instead of doing it manually.
He stands on a clear glass platform. This allows a clear view of the dock 10 stories below. With 5 side thrusters, the captain has precise control as he carefully guides this 85,000-ton behemoth gently into place.
Okay.
On this ship, even the little things are big endeavors. Take TV, telephones, and the internet. These modern-day must-haves are part of our everyday lives on land. And on the ship, passengers get these same services. But what guests don't realize is that a complex satellite system is the captain of this space-age technology.
Unlike shoreside, where a satellite dish is fixed and always pointed to a satellite, since we are moving, we need to redirect the dish all the time. That's done by little gyroscopes, and it's constantly pointing to the satellite.
But while technical systems and satellites are certainly necessities, most cruisers don't give these hidden workhorses a second thought. On the Disney cruise, it's all about fun in the sun. Coming up, it may be the ultimate in island relaxation, and it's reserved exclusively for Disney cruisers. Find out how the mouse created its own tropical paradise in the Bahamas. It's the last full day on board Disney's cruise ship. By this time, passengers have enjoyed activities, entertainment, and dining on board, as well as stops at tropical ports of call. But now, as the sun rises in the sky, a few early risers get a sneak peek at a tropical paradise unlike any other. It's Castaway Cay, Disney's own private island, a place you won't find on any other cruise itinerary. As the ship approaches in the morning light, the island appears deserted, and that's because it is. Only a handful of Disney crew members stay on the island. At this hour, they are busy prepping the island for the 2,500 visitors that will embark. There's something else different here. The ship doesn't anchor offshore. It pulls up to a berth only steps from the main beach. In fact, Disney went to a great deal of expense to build a dock so the passengers would not have to tender in. They had to find the deepest water, blast the limestone on the ocean's floor, and then pump in approximately 500,000 cubic yards of fill material. All that so passengers can go back on the ship anytime they want.
Another way that we wanted to differentiate ourselves from the competition is to create the quintessential beach experience. We knew that that was an important element, what our guests were looking for, and we wanted that experience to be on the last day of the cruise, to kind of be the finale, if you will, of the cruise experience. And that was important as we began to look where we could find an island.
This 1,000-acre island is a tropical playground for Disney guests on board Disney's ships. But it wasn't always like that. In fact, before Disney arrived, it was nothing more than a deserted island. But then Disney went looking for an island with 3 criteria. 1, it had to be beautiful. 2, it had to be available. 3, it had to be less than 225 nautical miles from Port Canaveral. So how did they find this tiny island in the middle of the ocean?
You literally take a map, you draw a circle, and you go search.
The island they found was a Bahamian island named Gorda Cay. After acquiring the island and renaming it, the Disney team went to work. But this job would prove to be like no other.
We learned a hard lesson day one because we all showed up and we had no water. It is a completely uninhabited island. So what we ended up having to do was drink the milk out of green coconuts.
Ultimately, Disney built all of the technical systems from scratch, including a wastewater treatment system, 2 reverse osmosis plants that produce fresh water from seawater, and 3 generators to power the island. As passengers prepare to disembark, the island staff completes their preparation for the day's activities. Many of the onboard crew members assume similar duties on Castaway Cay, but they get a lot of help from the island natives. There are 45 people hired by Disney who live on Castaway Cay. And if you're thinking it may be a little too Swiss Family Robinson for you, then you could be right.
I think living on the island requires special character. Right? Not everyone is suitable for this type of life. You have to be able to adjust to this way of life.
Prepping the island for guests also includes hooking a fiber optics line to the ship, so guests can purchase items on the island using their room keys. Passengers disembark just after 9 a.m. and head off to one of 4 beaches. Even Disney's characters will get their day in the sun. Disney designed the beaches the same way they designed the ship. There are specific areas for people of different ages.
One opportunity that we have on the island is the same opportunity that's on the ships, where we have programming for children, something fun for them to do. And at the same time, it allows adults to spend a little bit of time away from their children, but to know that they're well cared for.
The most popular beach is the Family Beach. Here, visitors can rent snorkel gear and head out on a 12-acre snorkeling adventure. It's designed around a man-made reef, which is populated by fish, fossils, and something you wouldn't expect. And if you'd rather be above the water than below, you can rent a catamaran during your stay.
Stay inside the vehicle at all times. Keep your life jackets on. Okay, if you guys have any problems, wave both hands up in the air. We're coming to get you. Okay.
But if you are really looking for that deserted island experience, and you can leave the kids behind, board the tram and head down the island's deserted runway. At the far end, you'll arrive in an adult paradise. No one under 18 allowed. This is where you'll find a mile-long stretch of beach called Serenity Bay. Here, Serenity seekers can lunch on grilled fish, rest in hammocks, or relax with a massage in one of the 5 open-air cabanas.
You're gonna have to.
The adult beach was developed for a way that those guests that may have children with them, may not have children with them, but can still have a getaway. Many times the children are having fun, and we're all kids at heart. But sometimes, you know, people want to get away and not have that environment where it's as quiet, as noisy.
We love Castaway Cay. I mean, the island is beautiful. The way Disney brings in its own vegetation and beautiful, beautiful sand. The service is great.
As dusk approaches, passengers make their way onto the ship and head back to Florida as the island natives wave goodbye in Disney fashion. As the magic and wonder sail off into the evening sky, the question remains, was the master of theme parks able to make its mark in the cruise line world?
I think Disney Cruise Line is the unparalleled family vacation cruise. There is no better family cruise line out there than Disney.
The Disney ship is so much nicer than the other ships that we've been on. It's definitely cleaner, the food is better, and the service is fantastic.
Even though when you're traveling on a boat, it doesn't seem like you're really on the boat. It seems like you're at Disney, doing fun stuff and stuff.
You know, I think that the biggest difference for us as a Disney Cruise Line versus others that sail in this industry is that we have the strength of Disney behind us.
So with success at the helm, the most obvious question is, what's next for the ships that Mickey built?
You know, the future for Disney Cruise Line is about whatever the guests want. You know, again, the biggest difference between theme parks is we're mobile. So over time, we will go wherever the guests want us to go.
Disney is all about raising the bar and learning from our experiences. So part of our culture and our process is to try new things and develop new ideas.
We're starting to see now a lot of people are coming back to Disney Cruise Line, which is wonderful. You know, they're our family and we want them to come back.
Everyone on the cruise ship really welcomes you with open arms. They're there, they have drinks, you know, and the fun just begins from the minute you actually step on the ship. So we were like, okay, let's get this party started.
Tracy Gallagher for the Travel Channel. Looking to enjoy the great outdoors? Well, you're not alone. In fact, last year there were 280 million visits to our incredible national parks. That adds up to a visit for every man, woman, and child in the United States. And it's pretty easy to see why. From the face of a glacier to the faces of Mount Rushmore, the Travel Channel's your ultimate guide for America's National Parks Week. Starts Monday night.